So we're going to start with a slip knot onto our hook. And then we're going to chain 140. And chain, you bring the yarn over and down through. So 140. And a good way of doing this, if you're not great at counting, is to use stitch markers. So when you're doing a long starting chain, have your stitch markers at the ready. Oh, I don't want to come off the set. And then when you've done 10, pop a stitch marker in. And then do another 10. And pop a stitch marker in. I don't want to go on this morning. Come on. I might get my metal ones out in a minute. Come on. Can't get it done. Come on, fingers and thumbs. And that's it. You can use safety pins. You can use a bit of different coloured yarn, tie it into the stitch, or you can just chain 140. So yeah, continue along until you've got 140 chains on your hook, and I'll see you at that point. So once you've got your chain of 140, we're going to fold it like so. I haven't done 140 because I wanted to do a sample so I could show you on camera because 140 was too long. But yeah, so once you've got 140 stitches, you want to be making that sort of shape because that's the middle and that's the middle. And then these are going to be where we're going to do the increase in. So yeah, we're going to put some stitch markers in to our work to remind us that there's an increase to be had at these points. So there's one stitch marker. Yeah, and just give it an eyeball and see if it looks about the same, and then that's great. If not, if you want to count, you can count, put your first stitch marker in and then count from the end, and then put your second stitch marker in and count that way. But I like to freeform it a little bit. I don't like my things to be too regimented, so I don't usually count. I usually do it by eye, and it usually works out well. If my stitch markers will go in. I don't want it this morning. I think maybe they're a bit cold. Because they're plastic, they're not. There, got it in. All right. So yeah, that's going to be our neckband. So we're going to do half double crochets around until we get to these points where we're going to do 3 half double crochets into that one stitch. And again, when we get to this stitch holder, we're going to do 3 double crochets when we get to that stitch. Not double crochet, sorry, 3 half double crochets. So we're going to turn our turning chain, and we're going to do a half double crochet into the second one from the hook. So half double is wrap around and in, around and out, wrap around and work all three off at once. And that's the lovely half double stitch. So wrap around and in, wrap around and out, wrap around and work that stitch off. And we're just going to go along our row, pop in one of these half double crochet stitches into each of the starting chain. So we can get into a nice flowy motion working along. This first row is always a bit more fiddly than the rest because you haven't got any real work to hold on to. But once you've done a couple of rows, it will start becoming easier to hold and therefore easier to crochet. So we're coming up to that first stitch marker that we popped in, and that's reminding us that we have an increase to be done on that row, on that stitch. So we're doing the half double, wrap around and in, wrap around and out, wrap around and work all three off at once. So I keep going with the half double. And then we're on to the stitch with the stitch marker in it. So we're going to do one half double into this stitch, another half double into the same stitch, and then a third half double all into that same stitch, and it's going to cause our work to turn a corner, to create a corner for us, which is what we want for our neckline. And then we're just going to carry on that row, along the row, just doing the normal half double crochet into all these stitches until we come to the stitch marker again. And keep going with the half doubles. So wrap around and in, wrap around and out, wrap around and work the three off in one. And you can see I lay the work down that our turning chain is turning a corner, and we'll just get to this next stitch marker and I'll show you how it turns the corner again. So we're just going along merrily doing our half double crochets. And see, your arm keeps splitting a little bit. Let's try that one again. As I say, once you've done this first row, it gets easier to crochet because you've got some work that you can hold on to, and it sort of makes your crochet hook glide easier. So just persevere with this first row, and yeah, you'll love it. So we're on to the next stitch marker. Excuse me. So we're going to put 3 stitches all into that one stitch. So 3 half doubles all into the same stitch. That's number 2 and number 3. And then continue past the stitch marker with just the usual 1 half double into each stitch until you come to the next stitch holder. And then again you're going to be doing 3 half doubles into the stitch that's got the stitch holder. So you'll have 4 turns, 4 corners in your work when you finished the neckline. As you can see, these extra stitches in that one stitch turn the work beautifully, and it's going to be a lovely neckline. So yeah, just continue along your 140 stitches with your half double into each stitch, and when you come to a stitch marker, remember to put 3 half doubles into the same stitch, and I'll meet you at the end. So there's our like foundation row of our neckline. So as we work around our piece, our cardigan, we need to remember that there's a stitch here that has 3 stitches into it on each bend. So if you want to, you can move your stitch marker there to remind you that that's what's happening, or you can just leave your stitch markers where they are and just remember that at the bend you need to put 3 stitches into one. So yeah, whichever you need to do to remind you that there's 3 stitches going in there, 3 stitches going in there, 3 in there, and 3 in there. And you're going to do a few rows of half doubles to create the collar. So on the collar, we've got our foundation chain and row that we've just done, and the corner there. And then we've got 1, 2, 3 rows of half double crochets, and you can see the increase on the corners there. So all of those stitches have got 3 stitches into one. And then we're going to do this fillet part. So yeah, you need to do a further 1, 2, 3 rows of half double crochet, and then I'll show you how to do the fillet. So to start, on your 3 rows of half double crochet, you're going to give yourself a turning chain of 2 to start with. If you find that your ends of your rows are a bit baggy, then just do 1 turning chain. It depends on how tight your stitches are, but do your turning chain 1 or 2, and that works that first stitch. So we're going in on that second stitch with a half double, so wrap around and in under the 2 parts of the V, wrap around and back out, wrap around and work 3 off at once, and that's the half double. So I'll do 1 more of those, and you're going to go all the way along 3 rows, remembering to put 3 stitches into that one on the bend, and you'll do that 4 times. So yeah, 3 rows of half doubles with increases at your 4 corners. So once you've done your 3 rows of half double, we're going to do this row of the fillet square boxes. So we're going to create a row of boxes. I'm going to show you how to do that one. So once you're on the row of boxes, do a turning chain of 1 or 2, whichever you've been doing for the rest of the work, and then add 1 more chain, because that's going to be the top of the first box, and then we're going to do a half double down into the 3rd one from the hook. So we're skipping a stitch, and we're creating our first box into there and using the half double stitch which we've been using. Then we're going to chain 1, skip a box, and go in on that next one with a half double, chain 1, skip a box, half double down into that one, and as you can see, it's creating our little boxes. So you just do a whole row of chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet down, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet into the next, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet into the next. And when you get to the corners, I'll just show you what you do at the corners. I've got one coming up just here. So chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet. So we're on the corner now. So we're going to chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet. And because we're creating holes, it will bend around the corner, as you can see. Just pull my stitches a bit tighter. You can see that the squares are going to easily go around that corner. So you're creating a row of boxes. When you get to the end of your row of boxes, I'll show you how to then carry on with half double crochets. So for your row of half double crochets, give yourself a turning chain of 2 or 1 if that's what you've been doing. Just keep consistent to how your tension is. And then on the row past the boxes, we are going to do a half double crochet into the top of that box, and then a half double crochet into the sort of stem of that box, and a half double crochet into the box or the stitch on top of the box, and then a half double crochet into the stem of the box. But as you can see at the top of the box there is that stitch to be had, so that's where we're putting our placement. So we're just going to go all the way along. So it's like a normal row, it's just that we haven't got the stitch below, but we do have that stitch to go into. So yeah, just a row of half double crochet all the way along, remembering that at your corners you need to put 3 stitches into one, 3 half double crochets into the 1 stitch. And then if we go back to our cardigan, our pattern follows that we do a row of boxes and then 4 rows of half double crochet, and then some boxes, 3 rows of half double crochet and then some boxes, and we do that create the boxes 3 times, working around, making sure that your corners are getting increased by 3 stitches each time. Hi, welcome to my channel, Granny Annie Creates. Today I'm going to show you how to do this crochet motif, and it's part of my mustard summer cardi that I've made on my channel. So yeah, this is the one that goes around the sleeve opening. But you can make it for any other reason as well. You can make it to join together to make a pretty little bag, or you could join it all together for a lovely scarf. So yeah, going to make this motif today. So we're going to start by a slip knot onto our hook, and then we're going to chain 9. So 1, 2, bring the yarn over the hook and down through, 3, that's the chain stitch, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got a nice starting chain of 9, and we're going to slip stitch it to this stitch furthest from the hook, and that will give us our center ring that we're going to work our motif into. So we've just slip stitched that into a ring. Then we're going to chain 4, which will give us the height of the stitch. 2, 3, 4, and that will give us the height of the stitch. And then we're going to do a treble down into the ring. And that will count as our first cluster here around. And we actually need 12 treble clusters around the middle circle. So there's our number 1, and there's a chain of 3 in between each cluster. So that's our first cluster. Then we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to do the first part of the treble cluster. So we're going to wrap around twice and go into the ring, wrap around and back out, wrap around and work 1 lot of 2, wrap around and work the second lot of 2, leaving the third lot of 2 on the hook. Then we're going to wrap around twice more to create the second treble of the cluster. Go into the ring and bring the yarn back out with you, round and work 2, round and work 2, and now we're going to work all 3 that are left on the hook off of the hook, and they're creating our first treble cluster, because that one sort of counts as the first treble cluster, but because it's got the starting chain, it doesn't look exactly like the treble cluster, but it works. It gets us to the height of the stitch. So in between each treble cluster, we've got a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then on with our next treble cluster. So wrap around your hook twice for the first treble of the cluster. Go into your hook, the circle, back out with the yarn, wrap around and work 2. That didn't totally go off. Off you go. That's it. Wrap around and work the next 2, and then leave the third 2 on the hook and start the second treble of your cluster. So wrap around twice into the work, bring the yarn back with you, wrap around and work the first 2 of your second treble, work the second 2 of your second treble, and then because it's a cluster, we're just going to work everything off all in one go. And there's our third treble cluster, and we need 12 of these all the way around. So it's just a chain of 3 and then the treble cluster into the ring, and that is wrap around twice and in, and then on the second part of the cluster you work it all off in one go. So yeah, you just keep making your treble clusters with a chain of 3 in between until you have 12 all the way around. So once you've worked 11 treble clusters all the way around, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll just show you the 12th one. So do a chain of 3 in between, wrap around and in, work the first part of the treble and then start the second treble, and then work that off into lots of 2, and then the final one you've got 3 to take off, and then you just do your final chain of 3 and then slip stitch it to the top of that starting chain there, and that completes that round. So then we're on to the next round. And this one needs a chain of 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to work a corner into this next hole along. So we're not going to go into that first one, we're going to go into that next one. And we're going to go with a double into that chain space there, and we're going to work one double. And then we're going to chain 2 and work another double into that same chain space. Then we're going to do a chain of 4, which creates the corner. And then 2 more doubles still into that same chain space, and that's what creates the corner. So double, chain 2 and a double. And as you can see, it's given us the corner shape. So we're going to chain 3 and we're going to put a single crochet into the top of that double treble cluster there. So we're jumping another hole and into that with a single crochet. So just straight in, bring the yarn back out, round and off. Then we're going to give ourselves a chain of 3 to get us to the next corner. Oops, fell off my hook. Miss a gap and in onto that next one is where the corner is going to go. So the corner is a double, chain 2, double, all into the same gap, chain 4, double, chain 2, double, all into that same space, and that's our second corner created. So that was a double, chain 2, double, chain 4, double, chain 2, double, all into that one space from the previous round, creates our corner. And then we chain 3, miss a gap, go into the treble there with a single crochet, and that creates the straight edge of our square. Then we need to chain 3 to get to this next, skip one hole, next one along for our next corner. So chain 3 and then we're in, not that hole but that one for our corner, and that's a double, chain 2, double, chain 4, double, chain 2 and a double. That's the third corner done. And then chain 3 to get us along the long straight, single into that treble one space along, chain 3, skip a space and in onto that last one. We're going to do our last corner, so that's a double, chain 2, double, chain 4, double, chain 2 and a double, all into that same space from the previous round. And then to finish off, we're going to do a chain of 3 and slip stitch it to the starting chain of that one. And there we have our motif. And if you want to square it off even more, you can run a single crochet all the way around the edge with 3 single crochets in each corner, and that will give you a nice circle to square motif, and it's the motif that I'm using on my mustard cardi, which there's other videos on my channel that you can follow along, and I'll show you how to make a cardi. And this is 100% cotton, so it's going to be great to wear in the summer months. So we're going to join the motifs together for our mustard cardi. So we need to check that they're right side to right side, and hopefully you can see that this is the right side and this is the wrong side. So when I flip that over, it hopefully becomes clearer which one's the right side. You can block these first. I've got a video on blocking, or you can block them once you've joined them. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to join, and you also need to decide whether you want the ridge showing on the right side or on the back side of your work. I want mine on the back of my work, so I'm going to put them right side to right side, and then I'm going to crochet them together down one of the sides. I'm going to take some of my yarn, and I'm going to tie it on into the corner of one of my motifs. With a double knot. Then I'm going to pop my hook in to one of the stitches on this side and one of the stitches on the next side. Bring the yarn into play and bring it down through what I've just put onto my hook, and then work that stitch off. Now I'm going to go into the next stitch along, take a piece from this motif and one stitch, one part of the stitch from there and the corresponding side. Take the yarn down through, round, and work those two off. And I'm going to continue that all the way along, and that will join my motif together. And then I'm going to join another one in the same way at the other end, and it's going to give me a line of motifs that are all joined together, ready to be then joined onto the bottom of our cardi. So yeah, you simply keep going all the way along, doing a single crochet into one part of the stitch from this side and one part of the stitch from the other side. Bring the yarn down through what's on your hook, wrap around and work those two off. So I'll meet you when you get to the end. So when you've crocheted to the end, cut your yarn off, bring it down through what's on the hook, and then tug it close, and then we've got a nice row of motifs starting. We're going to put another one here, and then we can put it on the bottom of our cardi in a little while. So that's our cardigan as it stands now. We chained 140 around here, and then we increased at the corners 1, 2, 3, 4 with 3 stitches, and then we continued around, creating 2 rows of a fillet, and then we tied on here and worked straight for that front piece, and we tied on again here and worked straight for that front piece, and then again we tied on here and worked this straight back piece. So that's the construction of our cardigan so far. We're going to put the motifs around the armhole next. So they are going to go here along this armhole. So I'm going to sew the motifs together, and then they're going to go along the armhole like such, or like so. 2, 4, 6, yeah, 6 along. They will stretch and curve around that area, and we're going to do the same on this side. I'm going to put 6 motifs along that side. So I've just got one more to make, and then that will be what our cardigan will look like. I'll just jump up on the chair. I'm not tall enough to give a whee. Still not tall enough. What if I zoom in, zoom out? Nope. So yeah, that's what our cardigan looks like at the moment. So I've sewn all the motifs together for the arm. So I've sewn the motifs together in one long line, and then I've put them right side to right side on the armhole, and I've pegged it with these little pins, or the pegs that are really handy, and I shall just simply sew up this side seam for the sleeve of my mustard Cardi. I'm just going to do a whip stitch over and sew that seam together, and then I'll do the same on the other side. So yeah. So here's our armhole, there's our neck opening, and our armhole, and that's the motifs that we just sewed around the arm side, and then I just sewed the motifs end to end. So our cardigan is still open there, and we're going to put some length next onto the body, front and back. Well, that's our arm done with our lovely motif squares. So to pin your arm edging to the edge of your sweater, pin at the two ends, and then pin in the middle. Then pin in the middle again, and the middle of those two, and then you'll have an evenly spaced pinned motif around your sleeve edge. And then I'm just going to whip stitch it, sew it together, and then we'll have an armhole. So we're going to do half double crochet all the way around the base of our cardigan. So I do a chain of 1 for the height of the stitch, and then in on the next one with the half double crochet. We're literally just going to do several rows of the half double crochet to make our bolero the length that we want in the body, and then we're going to attach the motifs that we've just sewn together onto the base. So do as many rows as you need for the length of your body, plus the length of the motif, and then your cardigan will be the right length for what you require. So there's our cardigan. I've increased the length of the body down from the armpits here, and we did that by tying on and working around and then back again from this side all the way around the back of the cardi, all the way to this side, and then stopped, and then we did a turning chain, and then we worked back again. And I've joined all the motifs for the bottom together, and then we're going to join the motifs to the bottom of the cardi, and then press finished, and then we can wear it. So the corner that you're going to start attaching the band of motifs to the cardi, pop your hook in, bring the yarn down through and tie the new yarn on, and then we are going to take that peg off, take one piece of Crochet Fun this side, one piece of crochet from that side. Same way we attach the motifs together, we're just going to attach the band of motifs to the bottom of our cardi. So one bit of each and single crochet off, and I'm going to go all the way along where we've just pegged, all the way around the cardigan, attaching this motif band to the back of the cardigan. So we're going to attach the bottom band of our motifs to the bottom of our cardi. So we just need to make sure that the cardigan is right side out. So have a look at your motifs on your sleeve and check that that's on the outside. Then we want to find the right side of our motif. So that's the right side, and we want to put right side to right side together like that. And we want to go from the front opening, and we're going to stitch along or crochet along there. We also want to make sure that we keep them in the right place. So I'm just going to use these little safety pins to connect my motifs. So there's 3 motifs along the front, 6 along the back, keeping right side to right side, so then when we turn it over the seam will be invisible. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 along the back to there. That's it. I'll pop another pin in there, and then flip it over, and we've got 3 along the other front, so we can attach that to that corner. You can use normal pins to do this bit as well. So we now have our band going all the way around, and we can make sure that we stitch it within these clips, and then it will be even all the way around. As they stitch, you can crochet it like we did the motifs, or you can sew it on however you feel is going to give you the neater edge. That final pin in here at the front, like so. And then, yeah, as I say, we're going to crochet along there all the way around. Hi, if you're liking my content today, it'd be great if you could hit the like button, share and subscribe. This will help other people find my channel and I really appreciate it. And if you want to connect further with me and in my crochet world, click the comment section below and there'll be links to my free ebook on beginner crochet stitches, my patterns and other tons of other stuff to help you with your crochet, knitting and sewing. Thanks for watching.